Good morning, everybody. I am Christophe Bugot. With Isabelle Maraval and Nelly Forestier-Chiron, we work at CIRAD in France, and especially on sensory analysis. I am going to make you aware of the sensory analysis that we have developed in the framework of the RTB Food project and specifically oriented for the breeding program. For this presentation, we will answer to the following question. What is sensory analysis? What are the various types of sensory tests? And what are the use of sensory analysis in breeding program? What is sensory analysis? Sensory analysis is defined by ISO as the examination of the organoleptic property of a product by means of the sensory organs. Sensory analysis highlights a relationship between stimulus and sensory perception. Sensory analysis made to your five senses. The visual stimuli for assessing, for example, the appearance and the color. The hearing stimuli for assessing the crunchiness. The tactile stimuli for assessing firmness, showiness, etc. Note that we can evaluate them by hand or in mouth. The olfactory stimuli for assessing odors, and the gustatory stimuli for assessing taste, like sweetness, and aroma in mouth. To understand the difference between odors, taste, and aroma, here is a figure that describes each of them. Odor is an emanation of volatile substances which are perceptible by olfactory organ. We speak of orthonasal olfaction. Aroma is also an emanation of volatile substances which are perceptible by olfactory organ during tasting. We speak here of retronasal olfaction. The taste is the sensation perceived only on the tongue when it is stimulated by certain soluble substance. Here is a diagram of the tongue for the taste perception. The four tastes are the sweetness, which is generally perceived at the tip of the tongue, the sourness, which is perceived just after on the fugiform papilla, the saltiness, which is perceived on the edge of the tongue, and the bitterness, which is perceived at the bottom of the tongue. This disposition is theoretical and can vary, of course, from one individual to another. To know where you perceive this flavor, it is necessary to carry out a test called tongue cartography. For starchy products, textural characteristics are the main criteria contributing to the acceptability of the processed product. A great technologue, Cesniak, have classified textural attributes in three groups. The mechanical characteristics are related to the reaction of the product to a stress. Hardness or firmness are the main attributes used to describe starchy product. Hardness is the force required to break product with hand or with mouth. Stickiness, another important textural attribute, is the energy needed to overcome the force of attraction between the surface of the product and the palate. Stretchability, an important attribute to describe podium, is the ability to stretch the product when pulled apart with fingers. Showiness, cohesiveness, prugginess are other attributes useful to describe starchy product. The geometrical characteristics are related to the arrangement of the components of the food according to their size, shape, or rotation. The most commonly used attributes are grainy and fibrous. The surface characteristics are appreciated on the surface of the tongue or the palate. Mealiness, dryness, moisture are often used to describe starchy products. Oiliness is more specific for frying products. The evaluation of textural characteristics by the panelists generally follows a well-defined process. During the initial phase, you will put the product in your mouth and apply pressure on it. This will allow you to evaluate the hardness, but also other attributes such as the fracturability of the fibrousness. During the chewing phase, other textural attributes will be evaluated such as stickiness, chewiness, or cohesiveness. Finally, some attributes can be evaluated almost at the end of chewing during the residual phase such as dryness, moisture, or oiliness. You will see all this during the practical exercise on the Thursday, 25 November. What are the various types of sensory tests? In sensory analysis, we have three types of tests. If we are seeking to determine differences between products, two analytical tests are proposed. For the discriminative test, we answer to the question, is there a difference between products? For this test, between 10 and 20 subjects of panelists are informed, which means that they are familiar with the product and sensory analysis. For the descriptive test, we answer to the question, how are the products different? For this test, about 20 panelists are qualified, they are trained and their performance are regularly monitored. If we are seeking to determine preferences between products, we used hedonic test. More than 100 naive consumers are needed for this test. They are unfamiliar with either the product or sensory analysis. Among discriminative tests, triangular test is the main test regularly used to know if there is a difference between two products. Each judge has to find which sample is perceived as different from the other. Here, in this example, the judge 1 has to answer the third sample and the judge 2 the first sample. In the RTB Foods project, the triangular test was used only for selecting panelists. The quantitative descriptive analysis is the main descriptive test. This is the test that will be proposed to you during the practical exercise on Thursday, 25 November. The quantitative descriptive analysis allows us to establish a complete description of the sensory characteristics of products. In this example, trained panelists assessed the sensory characteristics of 3 boiled yams. They score sensory attributes like stickiness, sweetness, easy to chew, etc. The sensory characteristics of the 3 boiled yams can be represented by this radar plot. In the third part of this presentation, we will see the main use of quantitative descriptive analysis for breeding program. The last tests are hedonic tests, also called consumer tests. One of them is the overall liking test. More than 100 consumers are asked to rank products according to their preferences. For example, which product is the most or the least appreciated? The overall liking test allows to identify groups of consumers according to their preference and choose to segment the market. When associated with a quantitative descriptive analysis, the overall liking test allows to identify the sensory characteristics preferred or not by consumer. This test will be not presented during the practical exercise on Thursday, 25 November. Let's go back to the analytical test. To realize analytical tests like quantitative descriptive analysis, the working environment has to be constant and controlled like temperature in the room. A test room for working in box and a preparation room are needed. The panelists are selected if they recognize the sensations in the product and ensure repeatability, reproducibility, and discrimination. There are a lot of recommendations that panelists have to respect before and during the sensory session. We have listed here the main. For quantitative descriptive analysis, there are 5 important steps before the sensory assessment of the product. Firstly, if the sensory descriptors are not available in the bibliography, the panelists must generate them. A maximum of 20 descriptors should be selected. Secondly, a session is used to draw up the testing form with the definitions, assessment protocol, and rating scale for the 3 to 5 products previously contrasted. Thirdly, panelists are going to use the scale. On 3 or 4 contrasted products, they are asked to rate the descriptor by applying the agreed protocol. Fourthly, on the same contrasted products, the panelists are asked to rate the descriptor individually on the selected testing form. When all the panelists have taken the test, a joint discussion and correction is led by the facilitator in order to recalibrate the panelists who were not able to situate themselves on the scale. Fifthly, the same test is carried out twice to assess the performance of the panel on the basis of 3 criteria: repeatability, agreement with the panel, and discrimination. At the end of these steps, if panelists are performant, they are considered trained and consequently, they are ready to assess product. A product-specific protocol must be drawn up to perform the test. There is no particular protocol, and depending on your product, you will need to decide on the protocol that will be implemented based on the following. Watch out for the representativeness and preservation of the sample. The presentation method has to be as realistic particle as possible. The sample has to be homogeneous in terms of tasting temperature and quantity. Choose the number of repetitions, for example, one product or all product replication by sessions. And the sample have to be anonymous and distributed in random order when it is possible. All these points will be treated during the practical exercise on Thursday, 25 November. For products that are processed and consumed hot, like boiled or pounded yam, it is very important to control the tasting temperature. During cooking, the firmness decreases in the products, here boiled plantain. During the cooling phase, firmness is going to increase but not at the same rate as it is observed in the first picture between the 3 boiled plantain. If the temperature of the product is not controlled before tasting service, great variation in firmness can be observed between panelists for the same product, as we can see on the picture 2. Similarly, the instrumental measurement must be carried out at a temperature close to that of tasting to avoid variation in sensory attributes for the same product. What are the uses of sensory analysis, especially quantitative descriptive analysis, in breeding programs? The first use of quantitative descriptive analysis is to assess the sensory diversity of a product. Here is the example of banana dessert. After generating a specific vocabulary, we had assessed the sensory characteristics of about 15 cultivars chosen in Musagermplasm and in the CIRAD breeding program. The figure here is a principal component analysis which enables rapid visualizations of the correlations between sensory attributes and the product. The cultivars differed mainly in the intensity of sourness, sweetness, firmness, banana aroma, and mealiness. By comparing the sensory profiles of these cultivars, we can identify the characteristics in which they are similar or not. Thus, we can see that hybrids in red are close to their parents in green, but they are far from the varieties in orange, usually consumed, some of which are very popular, like Cavendish or Gros Michel. On Friday, 26 November, we will carry out this type of statistical analysis from the sensory analysis that you will have made. The second use of quantitative descriptive analysis is to identify instrumental predictors of sensory attributes for high throughput phenotyping. For that, we try to establish relationships between sensoriality and instrumental measurements. Since the quantitative descriptive analysis requires panelists trained throughout the experiment, it is sometimes difficult to implement. In this case, when possible, it is replaced by instrumental measures which are more easy to implement. However, there must be a robust relationship between the sensory attribute and the instrumental measure. Using instrumental measurements, which are more rapid and less difficult than sensory analysis, means that it will be possible to propose high throughput phenotyping. But be careful, instrumental analysis cannot totally replace sensory analysis, which must be absolutely necessary for the sensory evaluation of hybrids that are almost in the approval phase. You should also be aware that not only all sensory attributes can be predicted by instrumental indicators, either because the sensory descriptor was not very discriminating or because it was not yet possible to find the relevant instrumental measures. And finally, we use quantitative descriptive analysis to identify the sensory criteria that determine consumer preferences. In other words, the objective is to identify acceptability threshold for each main attribute or biophysical parameters. For that, we look for links between hedonic analysis, overall liking text for example, and quantitative descriptive analysis. The example gives result for banana dessert. On banana cultivars, a consumer test and a quantitative descriptive analysis were done. We found that a good cultivar like Cavendish is characterized by high score in aroma banana and sweetness, medium score in firmness and mealiness, and low score in sourness. We can observe that hybrid 919 from CIRAD breeding program is very too much sour, and the hybrid 925, the closest to the Cavendish, is not enough sweet and aroma banana. The sensory characteristics of 260 hybrids created by CIRAD were evaluated by 3 to 4 expert panelists. From the previously calculated acceptability thresholds, we found that only one hybrid met consumer preferences. Now, I give you an appointment on November 25 and 26 in Cotonou to put into practice what you have just heard. See you soon.